Want to know what's weird? I recently realized that throughout my entire channel in the past 3 years or so, I have never made a video on Super Mario Odyssey. I've occasionally talked about it, but it's mostly been games like Mario 3D World, Mario Sunshine, Galaxy a few times, Mario Kart, and Donkey Kong Country. But I never made a video on Odyssey, probably because it was pretty popular back when my channel first started, back in 2018, so I thought it'd be a bit generic to make a video on it. But today I'm finally going to make an Odyssey video. I'm going to rank the 17 kingdoms in the game from worst to best, based on how good their level design, the music, the art style, the progression is. Number 17 is Dark Side. You just refight the Brutals, and while they're not bad bosses or anything, I particularly like Harriet and the guy who spits out the goo. I forgot what he's called. And I do like Robo-Brood at the end, but it just isn't that memorable since you refight bosses. And I don't like the other challenges in this level too, because they're just harder versions of existing ones, and they were never that good to begin with. Number 16 is the Cloud Kingdom. This is one of the two kingdoms that had a lot of missed potential, because all they were boss fights. In this one, you fight Bowser, and that's about it. There are a few moons here when you come back after you beat the main story, but that's about it. It's not like a cloud world is that unique anyway. Now, the boss fight is obviously the highlight, but it's really the only part of it that I did genuinely enjoy. It's fun, but nothing that good. Number 15 is the Ruined Kingdom. This one hurt even more than the Cloud Kingdom because it had a much more unique theme, and to see it being wasted like this on just one boss fight against the Lord of Lightning, well, don't get me wrong, I love that boss, and I really like the theme of this world, but they could have done so much more with it, really. It feels like those Mario Galaxy galaxies where you think it's going to be interesting, but it's just for a boss fight. That's what it reminds me of. Still, I put it above Cloud because it does have a more interesting theme. Number 14 is the Darker Side of the Moon. Now, the reason why this is higher than the kingdoms I've mentioned so far, which shouldn't even be kingdoms, they're so small, is I actually enjoyed this one a bit. I really do enjoy how the modern 3D Mario games have a really difficult level at the end of the game. Galaxy 2 had the perfect run, 3D Land had 8 Special Crown, and 3D World is Champion's Road. While I don't think that The Long Journey's End is one of the best versions of these, it's still a lot of fun. You go through all the previous captures and settings and themes and hearing the music in the game. And the end of this is pretty tear-jerking because you get to hear a remix of the main theme, but with a lullaby. And Cappy, he goes on this long speech. Yeah, it's not anything that good, but at least we'll be moving out of these really tiny kingdoms now. Or maybe not, because number 13 is the Cap Kingdom, the first kingdom of the game. One thing I'll give it credit is that it's not your average grassy plains world that a lot of Mario games seem to start with. Instead, you have this mystical place with a bunch of different caps, talking, and these little houses and airships. You get to see the Sea of Clouds, there's some nice music, that's nice, I like the Bonneton setting. And I feel like the frog setting could have felt less like a generic linear level you'd see in a more generic Mario game like New Super Mario Bros. They could have done more, but hey, I like how the frog is the first capture in the game. And the topper fight isn't that bad either. Number 12 is the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, this kingdom feels easy, but it's also after you beat the Moon Kingdom, which is where the main ending of the game is. And although I do think that it's okay for it to be easy, since it's just meant to be a relaxing break, that also means that it isn't one of the more interesting kingdoms. A lot of the challenges feel repetitive, like having to guide sheep to the pen. And of course, need I mention those 60 Toadette moons, where it's just achievements, and you get them one at a time individually. That was pretty annoying. And there's no reason for this kingdom to have so many filler moons. I do appreciate the Mario 64 references, though. They're pretty clever, and not just the most obvious things you could do with it. You even have some more obscure things, too, like looking up at the light inside Peach's castle. Number 11 is the Snow Kingdom. The Snow Kingdom starts out as just this whole blizzard, and then when you go inside the Shiveria, you have these different hub areas you can go into. I like Shiveria because it's like this interesting, warm little Russian town with a bunch of these seals. I used to think that they were polar bears at first, but I now found out that the Shiverians are seals. But my problem with this world is that it just feels like a big hub world. And inside that hub world, it's just another hub. And inside those hubs, it's another hub. And by that, I mean the snowbounding races, they're not bad or anything, but they're definitely not one of the highlights in the game. The highlight of this kingdom is definitely its atmosphere. I like it quite a bit. I just wish it used its theme more, which seems to be a problem with these worser kingdoms in the game. Entering the top 10 with Seaside Kingdom, which is one of the more overrated kingdoms in the game. The music is fantastic, and I do think that have everything being sparkling water is a pretty cool concept. But I don't really like underwater levels that much to begin with, and when you make one as big as this, it just isn't that fun. It feels like a much more confusing version of Jolly Roger Bay, and like I said, despite the fact that I like the music and the atmosphere, and the boss fight against Mollusk Claire is a lot of fun. Other than that, I just feel that this whole stage feels like a big maze that can be really confusing, and the purple coins are just the worst on the stage. Seriously, some of them can be so difficult, and if you don't have the Bowser amiibo, finding them can be super hard, like the blue coins in Sunshine. Number 9 is the Moon Kingdom. Now, the Moon Kingdom has a really lonely atmosphere to it. Music is really calm, Mario has the low gravity jump and an echo, and it looks quite nice. However, it does feel a bit too short in the overworld, but then when you go inside the volcano area, that's pretty cool. You also get to fight Madame Brood again, who, actually, I don't think is a bad boss at all. It's just, not one of the better ones. Then when you go to fight Bowser in the wedding hall, after you fight him, you get to capture him, and then we all know the ending of Odyssey. Peach rejects both Mario and Bowser, and that's how it ends. Aside from that, yeah, this kingdom isn't ranked too high, but I do like it for its theme, and that definitely helps make up for it. And its boss is pretty cool too. Definitely the highlight here. Number 8 is the Lost Kingdom. The Lost Kingdom feels the most like a 3D World level out of all of these, and because of my major love of 3D World, it's gonna be good. The reason I say that is because it combines a linear sense of platforming, but there still is a little room for exploration and secrets, and it isn't a completely linear path. It is an interesting theme of this exotic jungle-like area, but it's not just your average green trees. You also have the purple goop around you, like the poison. Although I do think it can be a bit excessive dying there sometimes, I do think it's a cool idea. I also really like these wigglers. They're not like actual wigglers, but they're pretty cool. And this is certainly a lot better than the kingdom you go through previously, the Cloud Kingdom. So yeah, the Lost is a lot of fun, and I can appreciate being one of the smaller kingdoms, but not feel like a hub world like Snow did. Number 7 is the Cascade Kingdom. Now, the Cascade Kingdom feels a lot like Babon Battlefield. You go to the top of the hill to fight a boss, in this case, Madame Brood. You have to avoid these big monsters you go on, which is the T-Rex here, and there are even chain jumps as well, just like in Babon Battlefield. Strangely enough, there aren't any bombs in Odyssey, but instead you can break open all these big blocks with the chain jumps, which is pretty cool. This is where you get your first Powerman in the game, and Fossil Falls is a really cool theme. This is definitely one of the more iconic levels in Odyssey, but it's also one of the earlier ones, so it's not going to be anything too awesome, but it still is a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. Number 6 is the Lake Kingdom. The Lake Kingdom is better than Seaside for multiple reasons. The first reason is, I do think the music is just as, if not better, than the music that you have in Seaside Kingdom. I really like Lake Lamode as a setting. You have these mermaids, the whole fashion theme you got going on. I love using these zippers because it's a pretty interesting mechanic. And I like how it's separated into a small area and a bigger area, kind of like Dire Docks. But unlike that level, it's not painful. Capturing the Cheep Cheep is pretty cool here too, and I like those big underwater domes. I thought that was pretty creative, and you could tell that the developers could really come up with some interesting ways to incorporate the gimmicks, like the themes of the levels. And that worked here too. I just wish it could have had something other than a brutal boss, but as it is, it's fine. And I never really noticed this, but it's nighttime the first time you go. Number 5 is Bowser's Kingdom. Bowser's Kingdom is divided up into a bunch of linear sections, so it reminds me of a Galaxy Kingdom, where instead of launch stars, you have these electric lines. I always forgot what they're called. Sparky pylons, I think. I really like the Japanese theme here, and although it's used in a lot of Mario games nowadays, I do think it's a really cool theme, and this is actually one of the earlier games to use it. The first one was Hands-on Hall from 3D World, and I do like this theme, because you get to see them take advantage of a lot of interesting stage mechanics and hazards. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I do enjoy the fight against Robo Brood quite a bit. Number 4 is the Wooded Kingdom. This is where we get into the huge kingdoms in the game, outside the Seaside. In this kingdom, you have the wonderful combination of the forest theme, which I love, and a more mechanical factory theme, which I love. And when you combine two themes that I love, plus the secret area being Deep Woods, which isn't one of the greatest secret areas in the game, but it's still a lot of fun, It makes for a really awesome stage, and I love the Steam Garden theme, as well as the Steam Gardener robots too. This world feels very lived in, and I like that quite a bit. Number 3 is the Luncheon Kingdom. The Luncheon Kingdom has a fight against Cookatail, one of the better bosses in the game. It's this giant bird, which Mario games seem to have a lot of bosses that are just giant birds, don't they? Anyways, I really like the theme of this whole food place. I know it's not exactly the most unique theme in Mario, but it can really be taken advantage of here. You get the cheese rocks you gotta break with the Hammer Bros with their pans. You go through the rooms at the beginning, you can swim in the pink stew with the lava bubbles. It's a lot of fun, and I do like it. It's one of the later kings in the game, so it's a bit more challenging to maneuver, and it can feel repetitive climbing to the top of Mount Valbano than having to go a different way, but you go around where you were the first time. It's still fun. Number 2 is the Metro Kingdom. Everybody knows this one, so I won't spend a lot of time talking about it. In this kingdom, you have Pauline, you have the plant, you have the Donkey Kong Mario Festival. The music is really awesome. The Mecha Wiggler fight is so cool. And it's also very platforming based, which I love. And that's what I think Mario games should be about, even a more open one, so I love it. Number 1 is the Sand Kingdom. The Sand Kingdom is a really cool place, because you have the setting of Toast Arena, this Mexican town, which I really like, this huge open area, which you can explore with Jaxi, and also get around with fast travel. The pyramid rises up. Knuckle Talk is one of the hardest bosses in the game, and I really enjoy it. It's so early on, but I do love it quite a bit. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.